don't think I want to watch this.
You've got Ethan Klein and Ben Shapiro.
Dude, this is so...
Oh no, not a tier list. Oh no. Oh no. I feel like Hasan has nightmares about tier lists. Like anytime a streamer brings a tier list up, he must be like, oh.
This is so desperate to be like, me thinks this is anti-Semitism, sweetie. Like if you look at the actual tier list, like Ben Shapiro is very famously anti-Arab, okay?
I like how Ben Shapiro is anti-Arab. I wonder if he's going to say why. It's going to be because of that one quote like 15 years ago. And that's enough to write off Ben Shapiro completely till the end of time as anti-Arab. I wonder if he's going to bring it up. It's Ben Shapiro tweeted out something like Arabs only build trash or something, or Israelis build cities and Arabs build trash or have trash, something like that. Wait, hold on. Somebody links it. Israelis like to build, Arabs like to bomb crap and live in open sewage. This is not a difficult issue. That's enough for him to write off Ben Shapiro's anti-Arab for the rest of his life. But all the totality of all these things are not enough to even question.
Semitism, sweetie. Like if you look at the actual fucking tier list, like Ben Shapiro is very famously anti-Arab, okay? Ethan Klein not as famously, okay?
Damn, Ethan Klein is anti-Arab now. Damn. Damn. Oh, no. Am I crazy in saying that Ethan Klein would have an easier time as passing as non-white than Hasan would? Like, if they were to go to an area and you're just like, one of these guys is like of Middle Eastern descent, I'm pretty sure Ethan Klein would be ID'd as, but whatever.
If you look at the actual tier list, there are friends of, you know, Frogan and many others on the fucking tier list.
Love Sabra. Now, Sabra apparently in their eyes is like they're referring to like a brand of hummus that exists in Israel.
It exists in America. I don't even know if it exists in Israel. I mean, I assume it exists in Israel as well. It's an occupied territory. It funds the IDF. But also, besides that, it's been a long-standing part of BDS efforts.
Is Sabra produced by like the state of Israel? Is that true? Is it like a state manufactured? Sabra Dipping Company is a U.S.-based Israeli company which produces Middle Eastern stuff. Is it like owned by the Israeli government? Why does he say it funds the IDF? Or does he just mean like the taxes do? Or okay, I don't know. Whatever.
But having said that, yes, it is a substitute for not being Arab coded, not being valid in the Arab community. Okay, it is akin to a bunch of black content creators making a tier list. Okay, and on the A tier putting being valid. Okay, and on the F tier putting raisins in fucking potato salad. Something that is as far, like who was invited to the cookout tier list, okay? And at the top of that are people...
He says that about all BDS companies? Okay.
...who are invited to the cookout, the most valid people, right? And on the bottom are, depending on the range of, I guess, anti-black sentiment that they demonstrate, the tier list bottom would be listed as F tier, raisins and potato salad. That's it. They would clearly say that'd be anti-white racism, yeah, and everyone would fucking laugh at them. The only difference in this circumstance is that anti-Semitism is a real bigotry. So you get more mileage when you fucking cynically smear people as anti-Semites, because anti-Semitism is a real, valid bigotry. Anti-white racism, no matter how much certain white identitarians online cry about it, it does not read by normal people as a real fucking valid bigotry.
It's basic.
God, I love black people. Thank God for black people. What would we do? What would us white people do without having you guys to compare things to everything? That's my... Fuck, I should have done that for my Thanksgiving. Thank you for black people. When I need to compare a bad situation, I can always say, this is like slavery. Or when I need to talk about like racism, or when I need to talk about like socioeconomic issues or like generational trauma or anything, I always have black people. Thank God. Thank you, black people. Thank you. No, stop. Hold on. Sorry. Thank you, African Americans. Not the immigrants. Fuck you. Okay? Thank you, African Americans.
Allowing for it, because at the end of the day, and this is not uncommon, it's not just him, but you know, the value of human life here goes far in favor of the loves Sabra category, if you know what I mean. Like, for him specifically, it's like, you know, it's Jews are the more worthy of the land, you know?
Well, I don't understand what he means. Wait, so then is it not just about Sabra, or... What? Am I going insane, or is every person going against Ethan thinking he's some sort of Jewish supremacist? Yeah, it's so crazy. Again, Ethan has like the most cucked position on Palestine, on Israel-Palestine, and he still gets labeled as a fucking Nazi. It's actually unreal. I don't even know if Ethan knows all of the correct, like, super Zionist memes. Like, I could LARP. I know, because now I know enough of the history and the culture to LARP as like a super ultra Zion. I don't even know if Ethan Klein could LARP as a super pro Zionist person. I don't know if he knows enough to do it, and he still gets labeled.
Yeah, and then you'd put fucking Candace Owens on the bottom of the F tier in that situation.
In part of a boycott. Now, Sabra also translates to Israeli Jew or Jew born in Israel. So realistically, if we're gonna use the terminology that these people politically like to use, this is what we consider a dog whistle. Okay, because
Yeah, dude, that's what they were implying on doing. Which, by the way, I didn't fucking know either, for the record. And Frogan says she didn't know either. I believe her. There's one of the tier list makers is Jewish himself, but that's besides the point. That he must be a self-hating Jew, right?
Oh, the Jewish friend. Like Lonerbox is a self-hating Arab? Or Lebanese person? I don't even know what they consider him. I don't even know what Lebanese people are considered, to be fair.
in reality, this is what they're actually going for. I mean, the thumbnail
It
that
also was loves Sabra. Loves Sabra. It grammatically does not make sense if it was loves Jewish person born in Israel.
I showed you.
I can't. I'm good. Hold on. I need to hear that defense again. I'm sorry.
And again,
It grammatically does not Jew, right?
in reality, this is what they're actually going for. I mean, the thumbnail
It
that
also was loves Sabra. Loves Sabra. It grammatically does not make sense if it was loves Jewish person born in Israel.
I showed
I can't. I'm done. I'm sorry. I can't. What is this? You're missing him screaming? It's just so stupid.
My basic point is that it's difficult to accept it, but data are a vast and impenetrable domain. And we have to accept this does not mean some cheap relativism, that we always approach data from.
Explain this for dumb people like me. I think he was saying that, like, love Sabra can't possibly be a dog whistle for is a Jewish person because Sabra would translate to Jewish person from Israel, and loves Jewish person from Israel doesn't grammatically make sense, so it can't be a dog whistle. It's just the stupidest thing in the world.
What philosophical hermeneutics calls a certain horizon of understanding, privileging some data and omitting others. All our histories are precisely that, stories, a combination of selected data into consistent narratives. For example, I will give you a provocative example. Don't be afraid, my conclusion will not be relativist. I can write a book, and I can guarantee you every detail will be, all data will be true, convincingly demonstrating that Hitler was justified in bemoaning the excessive influence of Jews in Germany in the late 20s and early 1930s. It's simply true. 40% of lawyers in Germany, at least in big cities, were Jews. Jews were...
Oh, shit. This is the same point that I was making earlier. Yeah. This is what I'm saying. It's really hard to pick out liars if you're not, like, somewhat familiar with the topic itself. Like, there's not I don't know if there's a cheap substitution for knowledge, because you could make a compelling argument for why one side historically is correct, and everything you say is true. The data points are accurate. So he's doing what I did with the 6-Day War, but now and I guess I even mentioned the Jews in Nazi Germany. And now he's going to make the same argument for, well, I can show you why, the Holocaust was actually justified because Jews were doing all these things. And I can use all these factual statements that are factually true, but the narrative is not true, even though every single underlying fact is true.
In bemoaning the excessive influence of Jews in Germany in the late 20s and early 1930s, it's simply true. 40% of lawyers in Germany, at least in big cities, were Jews. Jews were extraordinarily influential in cinema, as journalists, and so on, in art, and so on, and so on. So, again, all these data are true. And what should we do? If you say, but we need other data, which are more valid, and so on, you already need a certain theoretical frame to say this, and we should say this. That would be my point.
Yes, because if you're saying that I have data that's true, but I need more data, well, then you're not just appealing to the data. There's some theoretical framework that must exist for you to even make that declaration of I need more data, right? Yeah.
Let me repeat another old story of mine that I like to repeat. I'm sorry if you heard it. I think it's extremely useful precisely today. This Jacques Lacan's, my psychoanalytic teacher, paradoxical statement, very precise, that imagine, I'm sorry for the male chauvinist twist of this statement, imagine a husband who is pathologically jealous of his wife, obsessed with the idea that she is all the time sleeping around with other men and so on. And Lacan says something wonderful. He says his jealousy is pathological, even if everything that he says is true about his wife. Why? Simply because the true question is not, is his wife really like that? The true question is, and therein resides the pathology, why does he need jealousy to sustain his self-identity? And it's the same with Jews for the fascists. But
I said something, somebody emailed me on this to correct me, that I said something that was logically incorrect. One thing that I said is, if the two premises, this seems very, okay. If I say all men are, if I say all men are mortal, wait, hold on, if I say all men are immortal, and I say that Socrates is a man, and then my conclusion is therefore Socrates is mortal, I can say that the conclusion is not supported by the premises, but I can't actually say that the conclusion is incorrect. I'm doing this in a way to demonstrate that that even if we know externally that the conclusion is correct, yeah. I don't know if this is making sense. Just when I say logic, I'm talking about like formal logic, right? That just because you can reject a premises, or just because a premises doesn't necessarily lead to the conclusion in strict logical sense, that doesn't necessarily mean that the conclusion is wrong. It just means that the conclusion is not supported by the premises. I think I did this when I was writing through some mind mapping shit. I'd written some syllogism down, and I'd said that like, oh, well, if I can see that this is wrong, then necessarily the conclusion is not correct. That's not true. Just because your premises don't support the conclusion, or do support the conclusion, even if your premises do support the conclusion, and the conclusion is true, that also doesn't necessarily mean the conclusion is true because of the premises, depending upon how broad you want to make that. Although I don't know if that's a logics question, or if that is getting into a broader sociological thing or something, right? Which I think he's bringing up here about like something to do with the patriarchy or whatever, or a way that you would view a husband, that he might view a certain thing about his wife, but it's not. Let me re-listen to this, sorry, to read.
imagine, I'm sorry for the male chauvinist twist of this statement, imagine a husband who is pathologically jealous of his wife.
Okay, a husband who is pathologically jealous of his wife. Okay.
Obsessed with the idea that she is all the time sleeping around with other men and so on. And Lacan says something wonderful. He says his jealousy is pathological, even if everything that he says is true about his wife.
So even if he were to discover, so if he discovers that his wife is cheating because he follows her, to a bar or whatever, at some night or whatever, even if that is true, it's still pathological, right? That the conclusion here being supported by some other set of premises doesn't negate another driving force or whatever it is, right?
Wife. Why? Simply because the true question is not, is his wife really like that? The true question is,
is whether or not the premises themselves are causal of the conclusion itself, which again, I don't know if this is a logics question or if this is something different, but...
The true question is, and therein resides the pathology, why does he need jealousy to sustain his self-identity? And it's the same with Jews for the fascists. Don't misunderstand me. Of course, they are mostly telling lies. But I'm saying the moment...
Or I think for the self-identity, he's going to do something different there, but...
You accept debate at this level, and aren't Germans exaggerating a little bit? Jews are not really like that. You sell your soul to the devil.
Yes. Oh, fuck. Why are we discovering all these things now? Or I don't know if I've stumbled into, this is why you should just read shit. I probably could have just known this like 5 or 6 years ago if I would just read or listen to intellectuals instead of trying to figure it out on my own. That's why you should read. Good men learn through experience. I think great men learn through other people's experience is the is the quote. That by even accepting the premise of, well, how evil are Jews really to justify this, you're already bought into a theoretical framework that is constraining and narrowing all the possible conversational pathways you can take that it's already started off on the wrong foot.
Exaggerating a little bit. Jews are not really like that. You sell your soul to the devil.
It's like arguing over the anti-vax stuff. Is ADE, is acquired dependency enhancement, is that actually, like, how bad is it? Like, they don't care about this. They don't give a fuck about this. Like, is the DOJ actually corrupt? How corrupt is it? They're not arguing about that. They don't give a fuck about corruptness of the DOJ. This is just part of the conservative mindfuck. It's part of the constellation of beliefs. They don't actually care about any of these individual things. They're all just required to, like, uphold every other thing.
Because the point is not, are Jews really like that? The point is, why do the Nazis, in order to sustain their vision of society, organic community where antagonisms can explode only if they are imported by foreign bodies from outside, why do they need the figure of the Jew to maintain their vision of society?
Because if you argue against all of these sub-points and you can point out, well, Jews didn't do this or Jews didn't do that, they're never changing their opinion because it's not, those things weren't the things driving the conclusion in the first place, right?
So that's my point here. The most efficient lies are lies with truth, lies which reproduce only factual data. I'm not saying by this that truth should be relativized. I mean, Holocaust happened, absolutely.
And he's, fuck me. How have I not seen this video before? Because when you say stuff like this, people immediately jump to like, oh, so what? You're an epistemic anti-realist. You don't think there's any real truth, or you want truth to be relative? No, nobody's talking about truth being relative, but truth is not a fact. Truth is not a collection of facts, right? Because when you're uttering a statement, you're not uttering the fact, and you're not even uttering the collection of facts. You're uttering a narrative that purports to meaningfully weave these facts together into a certain story. That's what you're doing, and that's the falsehood, right? But this is like a second or third order thing from the facts themselves.
Absolutely. No doubt. I'm just saying that in a proper dialectical approach, it's wrong to oppose in this rude way the data and our interpretation of them. The correct horizon, conceptual field, and so on, from which we interpret data is not just our subjective choice. It's part of the object itself.
Yep.
It's a very Hegelian notion that how we read facts, it's not our subjectivity, it's inscribed into facts themselves. In what sense? Let's take precisely anti-Semitism. The way you interpret the presence of Jews in Germany in the late 1920s. Either you say, oh, these are foreigners who destroy our community, or you say, fascists construct them as threat to justify their dictatorship and so on. This is precisely conditioned by the objective social situation of those who read the data in this way. What this approach enables us, for example, apropos of anti-Semitism, is to say, and here I avoid relativism, anti-Semitism, for this reason, and other racisms, don't be afraid, I'm critical of Zionism and so on, very much. Probably they will prohibit me to enter Israel soon. I support, in a very moderate way, BDS, but I'm totally allergic, because we do have it now in Europe, real old-fashioned anti-Semitism again. What I'm saying is that anti-Semitism is wrong a priori, formally, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? It's not a question of, okay, Hitler was a little bit right, maybe there were too many Jews in...
Anti-Semitism is a priori incorrect because it's not built on some foundation of facts, and that's a conclusion. It's an axiomatic a priori assumption that other facts are discovered after asserting that belief, right?
Culture, whatever, among journalists, but he exaggerated. No, he was absolutely wrong. In what sense? Wrong because...
Fuck, somebody asked a really good question in chat earlier about this. I wish I could remember the question exactly, but it was something like, why won't you give Trump credit for something if he's right on it, but you guys happen to get there in a different way? It's because he's not getting there through some factual deliberation or through some collection of facts and deliberating between multiple facts and then figuring out, what he thinks is true. The whole framework is busted. And even if we happen to arrive at a true or at a similar conclusion, I wouldn't even say his is correct, right? Yeah.
Not because how he distorted facts. He was wrong even if he didn't, but he did distort facts. He was wrong because the way he used facts was in order to sustain a general lie about society, obfuscating its antagonisms and so on and so on. So this is a very dialectical notion of truth, but not mystical, that, again, you can use correct data to serve a lie. And how do you measure? Now you will tell me, okay, but I'm naive here. How do I know what is lie and what is not?
Oh, so this is the question I was asking. I don't know the answer to this. What is the answer? Tell us.
How do you measure? Now you will tell me, okay, but I'm naive here. How do I know what is lie and what is not? Don't I reserve for myself the position of standing outside and, I know this is a lie? No, I can measure it immanently. If you analyze closely the Nazi edifice, you can see that their anti-Semitism is immanently a lie. Immanently in the sense that it obfuscates certain social antagonisms, and this obfuscation is inscribed into the very way they formulate anti-Semitism, and so on and so on.
Oh, okay. Well, it sounds like his answer is you'd have to know a lot about the individual thing, right? You analyze anti-Semitism, you analyze German society, and you see that the lies relating to anti-Semitism are used to obfuscate things that exist socially. So therefore, but you would have to have intimate familiarity with that, I guess. But interesting. What you're talking about is relating to validity versus soundness. No, it's not. It's something more than that. It's a little bit more sophisticated than that. A valid argument is just one from which the conclusion follows the premises. A sound argument is one in which the premises are true, but the conclusion follows from the premises. However, I haven't taken formal philosophy, so fuck me. There was a theory of truth called justified true belief. Actually, I don't even know if JTB addresses this, because what I'm telling you is you can have a syllogism where both premises are true and the conclusion is true, which seems like it would be a valid or a sound argument, but it's not, but I don't know if it would qualify as a justified true belief. JTB means that, no, because I think this was the issues with JTB that made it fall apart and people don't believe in that anymore. I don't know. Like, for instance, I can say that a basketball player is tall. Tall people are generally healthier than short people. And then the conclusion would be, I don't know, Kobe Bryant, he's dead. Steph Curry is healthy or something, right? I'll just say tall people are healthy, sorry, to make this. Let's assume that all tall people are healthy because they're not malnourished, okay? Broadly speaking, okay? So basketball players are tall people are healthy, and Steph Curry, therefore Steph Curry is healthy, right? That we could argue syllogistically, okay, well, is it valid? Well, basketball players are tall, and tall people are healthy, and Steph Curry is a basketball player, therefore he's healthy. So it's a valid syllogism, right? Is it sound? Well, a basketball player is tall. Basketball players are tall, that's true. And tall people are healthy. They're not malnourished, right? I'm stretching a little bit here. So I could also say that it's sound, right? So this argument is valid and sound, but it could still be incorrect. Steph Curry is not healthy because of these things. I don't know what the answer is to this. I don't know what this is called, but this is a step further. This is a step beyond just validity or soundness of a particular syllogism or a premise conclusion thing. You're talking about a Gettier case? Oh, maybe. Wasn't a Gettier problem? Wasn't that the challenge to justified true belief, and it's why people don't believe that anymore? Like, for instance, if I say, here's a ball rolling down a hill, the ball goes behind a tree, and I say there's a ball behind that tree. I have a belief of a ball being behind a tree, and it's justified by the observation of the ball rolling down the hill. And somebody could go down the hill and grab a ball behind a tree, but maybe somebody swapped the balls. So now you've established, like, well, this is a justified and true belief. You've justified it, and the fact is true, but it's actually not true for the reason you think it is. I don't know if that counts as a Gettier problem or not. Sound arguments are always justified true belief. Oh, sure, but I don't know if challenge the long. Oh, it does challenge ADB. Okay, yeah. I don't know theories of truth. Epistemology is cringe. It's about accidental correctness. Yeah. This is more complicated philosophy stuff. This is worth learning, though. I think some formal logics are important because it helps protect your mind from stupid shit. That's why I never in my entire life have ever fallen for a trick ever. Okay, I'm going on a date with friends. I love you. Be careful. Stay safe. We're going to cappuccino. I'll catch you guys next. What do I do tomorrow? A normal stream at the normal time. I got my car today, okay? So I won't be late tomorrow. Maybe. Be careful.